Perfect.
Welcome everyone to the Universal Health Plan Governance Board Executive Director Hiring Committee meeting today, March 4th. Well, we're going to do a roll call, but I guess let's go ahead and do roll call because we have a quorum.
Perfect. Helen Blanca?
Here.
Bruce Goldberg?
Here.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, great. And then a quick agenda review. We'll have time for public comment if there is any. And then I want to finalize some details about the special board meeting that's happening this Thursday first. And then we're going to be reviewing and finalizing our questions for the second round interview. Should be a short meeting. Katie, is there any public comment?
There is not.
Okay. Great. Can we confirm, are we this Thursday 9 to 11 or 9 to 11:30?
9 to 11:30 is what we have decided, but I will say that if here's the current situation with having it from 9 to 11:30 is that you have all board members will be able to attend except for Cheryl, but with going until 11:30 you lose Michelle and Chunwei won't be able to stay for the last half an hour, so they wouldn't be a part of the vote, but you still would have quorum for a vote. But if you think you would like, Michelle is only available until 10:30. Chunwei is available until 11.
Oh, wow. That's really not ideal, huh? I mean, I asked, because I think it matters in terms of how much time we're going to give to each of these interviews. I'd like for everyone to obviously be present not only for the interview, but a chance for a little bit of discussion. And so if we're going to, I do think we should wrap up the meeting at 11, because if we go to 11:30, we'll be missing 3 people, Cheryl, Michelle, and Chunwei, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I'd like as many people to be involved in this as possible. So I think if we can wrap up by 11, I think that would be preferable. And I'm wondering if the interview should only be about 20 minutes to allow for have a board discussion and get a sense from people and see if we're ready to take a vote before Michelle leaves at 10:30. Yeah, so if we did half hour for each or 20 minutes for each, that would give us some time for discussion, check in by 10:30 and allow Michelle to be able to vote if we're ready to vote. If we're not ready to vote, then maybe she has to leave. We have a little bit more discussion and kind of and then go till 11. But I think that would be better. What do you think? What do you think, Bruce?
I'm thinking maybe. So I was thinking if we maybe could give a little more time, 25 minutes, and then obviously ask Michelle. She may not be be able to stay for all the discussion, but she can certainly let us know her preference.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking 20 minutes may be.
It's short, yeah.
Really short for people to get a sense of the candidates.
Yeah. And then it is definitely okay for you to get a sense of her preference if she's not there for the vote. However, she would have to be present for the vote to have her vote count.
Yeah. Welcome, Judy. We're just kind of discussing logistics of Thursday morning. I don't know how much of that you heard, but Cheryl can't participate at all. And then we're going to lose Michelle at 10:30 and Chunwei at 11. So we're trying to figure out how to optimize that time frame. So if we did half hour each, if we start right on time at 9 and we gave them half an hour each, that'll take us right up to 10:30. And that's when Michelle has to leave. So if we did 25 minutes each, yeah, I mean, that's as close as we could cut it, I would think. And have a couple 10 minutes at the end to get a sense from Michelle about her preferences or concerns.
Is there any option to start at 8?
That's a great idea. Can we start earlier?
I mean, I would have to reach out to the board to see if there's any conflicts for anyone between 8 and 9. But I can definitely do that. I will do that in very short order to see if there would be a conflict from that perspective.
That's a great idea. I would ask Katie about starting at either 8 or 8:30, and that would give us a little bit more time And then obviously you could say that if we do start earlier, we anticipate we'd end earlier as well, but just to allow the full board to participate as much as possible.
So still shorten it to 2 hours.
Well,
And then
let's aim for 2.5, but so like if we start at 8, we'd end up at 10:30, but if we can start at 8:30, then we could wrap up by 11.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I will definitely see what I can do and we can aim for that.
Okay, great. And then I don't know if this is Katie or Courtney. Are we going to be sending out the cover letters and resumes of our top 3 candidates to the full board?
Yes, that has been completed.
Oh, that's already done. Sorry, I didn't check my emails. Okay, great. Awesome. Fabulous. Okay, those were the only details I wanted to clarify. Okay, anybody else have details or anything we need to about the meeting Thursday, or we can move right into the questions? Cool. So I think, Courtney, you sent around the second round questions from the last set of interviews. I was kind of hoping to start off this interview with just having people introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their background, their professional experience, and give a sense of why they think they would be a good fit for this role, and just let them kind of just open it by talking about their own background a little bit as the first question.
Yes. So for a 25-minute interview, maybe 30 minutes, I would say, or I would suggest about 5 interview questions, with the final question being, do you have questions for us? That usually, on average, an interview question or a response is about 3 to 5 minutes long. So that would time out perfectly. The first question that I drafted up is, please tell us why you're interested in this position, how it fits with your background and experience. Include in your answer the strengths or skills you bring to this position from previous work experience. I think that's going to lend itself to a little bit more of that introductory phase. I can even kind of reword it and say, start with, please introduce yourself and tell us why you're interested in the position. In fact, Katie, would you like to, is it okay if I go ahead and share my screen?
I like it actually as written. It's a great question.
Okay, perfect. And then I will
Yeah,
share my
Courtney,
screen so
you
you
can
can
share.
see it. Okay. And just want to confirm, can you see?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm not sure if it's sharing everything. Okay. So, yeah, that would be the first question. And then what I did is I just wrote out 10 other questions in different kind of skill spots. And so wanted to lean on all of your recommendations of what you really want to draw out in these interviews. And then we can kind of talk about those questions and then rework them. So I think one in the interviews, one of the things that was wanting to dive in a little bit more was leadership style, and executing kind of the body of work. And so curious to know what you would want as an interview question in that specific area.
I like your question number 2. I think that gets to the meat of it, and just the timeline is making me nervous. Like we want to hear from them. I really hope the board members read their cover letters and CVs that you sent out. And I like questions 1, 2, and then what questions do you have for us? The way they present themselves is going to give us a little bit of a sense about their communication style. These are all great questions if we had an hour, right?
Right. Yes, I would definitely suggest eliminating questions. So maybe if there's any on the screen right now that you would like to remove immediately, we could take care of that.
I think we can remove 4.
Yes, I
That's
agree.
what I was going to say.
I had a replacement for that, which is, if they could talk to us about a complex or controversial project and how they, what they worked on, what they learned from that, how they accomplished the goals of that. That'd be great. Something around that. rather than about bad news.
I like that.
Controversial.
Controversial. Okay.
Yeah.
Project. What was, and then we do what was your role and what was the outcome?
And what did you learn?
Ah, yes. What was your role? What was the outcome? And what did you learn?
And I'm wondering about the term controversial in there, because people might see that as, some people thought it shouldn't happen, but maybe controversial or complex with, different stakeholders that had different priorities, you know what I mean? Like competing priorities.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Because that's the idea I think you're trying to get at, is like when not everybody's on board, how do you do that? So it could be that it's controversial, but
Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
For number 3, I want to be mindful about asking this question specifically. I think we can intuit from the materials they've given us what perhaps their perspective is. I don't know if it gives us any more specific information about this person as an executive director.
One of the, you know what, I actually have a resource that I can pull up here that would be very helpful in this area. So let me locate that. We actually just partnered with our Office of Equity, and they released new diversity, equity, and inclusion questions. So we have essentially now subject or skill level in diversity, equity, inclusion. So we have general DEI questions, building diversity within a team or organization, personal growth and understanding DEI biases and stereotypes, and then leading diverse teams or increasing diversity among teams, or overall commitment to diversity. Do any of those sound like what you would want to explore a little bit more?
Well, I wonder if number 4, the way you've written it, will give them an opportunity to speak to it without us specifically asking them.
Mm-hmm.
So are
Yeah.
you thinking you would like to remove question 3 altogether? Okay.
I'm interested what you guys think of this, but I didn't get a sense from the last round of questions, really how people would approach sort of convincing people, like how you build engagement in this work. So we asked last time, like, why are you interested in this job? But when I was thinking about this, I was wondering if we could ask something along the lines of, assume you're talking to a group of people who are skeptical about the board's work. They could be healthcare executives or business owners or legislators who are skeptical about this project. What would you say to convince them about why we're doing what we're doing? What is the value that this board's work is bringing, and kind of convince us that this is the right work to be doing now. And then obviously, what are the barriers to that, and how would you overcome that? I would like to hear each of them speak about the work of the board specifically, and say, like, why is this a good idea? How would you convince somebody who didn't think we should be working on this, that this is something we should be doing?
Ooh, I like that, Helen. That gets at, do they have a vision too?
Yeah, a vision.
Yeah.
We really need some sort of leadership kind of stepping in and saying, like, here's why we're doing what we're doing.
Right.
We can put it as 3 if you don't mind, too, like
Sure. And are you wanting more of like a tell us about a time, or
No,
I guess how do you want to?
Yeah, I just want to hear from them, like, why they think we should be doing this work. So assume you're talking to a room full of professionals who are skeptical about the board's work. business owners, healthcare executives, legislators. What would you say to convince them that the work of the board at this time is important, meaningful? Why should we be doing this work now? How would you get people on board?
How would you engage them?
How would you engage them? How would you engage skeptics about what we're doing? Why, and convince them that this is what we're supposed to be doing?
Are skeptical about the work. I'm gonna throw it down on the paper and then we
Yeah.
will
Clean it later.
clean it up.
We long reverted to the acronym.
Yes, I will make sure to add that. How will you engage with those individuals?
And convince them that this is the right path for Oregon healthcare reform.
All right. How do we want to wordsmith this?
Yeah, it's not, so it's more like, so soon, it's more like, what would you say? So I assume you're speaking, and I would give examples. They could be, I want them to think of like, how would you talk to legislators, business leaders, business owners, healthcare executives? Like, how would you talk to that group of people who have a real stake in the work, like whose lives would, the financial impact of this would be dramatic. And if they're pushing back and saying, I'm not sure this is the right idea, the question is not, the question is more about like, what would you say to convince them that they should get on board with this? What would you say to convince them that this is the right way to approach?
What's the compelling reason to support it?
Yeah, what's the compelling reason to support it, right? For them to support it, for them to support it specifically. Like, you're trying to convince people who don't think it's the right thing.
I think it's a good question. I would just chime in that for the board, I think a lot of that is the role of the board and others, and that the executive director, we're looking for to, in a lot of ways, make certain the work gets done and accomplished. So I just want us to have that balance. We're not recruiting for a 10th board member.
Right.
We're recruiting for an executive director and different roles.
Right, but it is the everyday public face and voice of our work. It is the person who, that everybody will connect with. They can't necessarily reach us, but it is, this is, there is, like what Judy was saying, there has to be some sort of vision, like somebody who believes in what we're doing and can talk about what we're doing in a way that is compelling, that says that this is worth doing and here's why we're doing it.
I want to know if you want the word impacted in there, because you had articulated that earlier.
Yeah, but I think it would help to give examples,
For the individuals.
Yeah.
So, and you said stakeholders, is that right?
Well, I mean, no,
stakeholders,
healthcare executives, business owners, legislators, like that kind of, those kind of folks.
Healthcare executives, and you used one more. I'm so sorry.
Business. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other edits to this question? Sorry, I moved it.
Are 3 and 4 too similar?
I would say 3 is more in the skill set of influence and communication, whereas 4 is more of roles, responsibility, project management, organization. So
Okay,
I don't think they're quite the same.
okay.
Um, and then my other question too was, is there or was there any question asked in round 1 that you would like to actually repeat so that the entire board can hear that response to the question? Because that is also an option for you. And I do have those questions if you'd like to see them.
Yeah,
I,
two,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, question 2 and question 4 seem the same. So leadership style, maybe we should be more specific about, we could put something in there about managing staff, leadership style, but both 2 and 4 address like,
I was wondering if number 2 and number 6 could be combined and just say, tell us about your leadership style and how do you go about developing the people you manage?
yeah, and just leave it at that. Yeah.
Um,
So number 2 and 6 combined, and I would leave 4 to,
oh, you'd
Yeah.
leave it alone.
Leave 4. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to remove the leader part to 4?
no, because it flows nicely, but it's really getting at, like you were saying before, how do you navigate when kind of these tricky waters and complexity in the projects? And 2 and 6 are really about leadership style and management style and how do you grow the folks?
And
Do
then we can
you,
get rid of
Do
that
we
second.
want, go ahead, sorry.
and you want to remove this part?
Yeah.
The less we're talking and asking them questions, the more time they have to give us, right? It's my strategy.
Do we want a question about just um, uh, sort of along the lines of 4, but I think a little different in terms of, you know, how when they had, a lot of competing priorities, they got the work done. I mean, ultimately,
Mhm.
this is about delivering a product.
Yes.
It's not necessarily about policy. A lot of the policy rests with the
Oh,
board, but this
good
is
night.
really about managing a complex project.
Yes.
Let's, and I think putting it in that context, not generically, and getting something done and delivering a product. I'd like to hear them talk about that.
Great point.
Yeah, I like that too. So in 4, if we can scroll down. So tell us about a time when you led a highly controversial, complex project with multiple stakeholders and diverse priorities. What was your role? How did you deliver the out? Were you able to deliver? What was the outcome? How do you? So something about, yeah, time
How do you
management.
manage a complex task and get the work done?
Get the work done. Yeah. To deliver the outcome and something about timeline, like dealing with tight timelines or getting a deliverable done on time.
You can tell me if you like. If you like that, or if you
I
want to
don't
go.
I don't know if we care about how they set their priorities, but just like if they were able to make it happen, like how do you deliver the product that you're supposed to deliver on time? We want to hear about their ability to I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm
Yeah,
struggling.
I mean, we might split that into two questions. I mean, one is really about how do they deal with controversy and complexity. Another is just about management skills and getting work done. I mean, that,
Uh-huh.
So would you like to remove this part of the question and
Yeah.
lead into a different one? Okay. Um, let's see here. Sorry, I'm looking at our essentially our interview question bank and seeing if there's anything I can kind of pull out of there. But I'm not seeing anything in that kind of area. So, do you want to tell us about a time, or do you want how do you go about organizing a complex project and ensuring that you're meeting deadlines?
I like that.
Yeah.
I said it out loud and then I completely forgot what I said. Such is the way you go about.
Hey, Courtney,
Yes,
I have maybe a version for you,
yes,
if you
please.
guys like this. How do you manage competing priorities, multiple personalities, and short timelines while ensuring you are meeting your deliverables on time?
All right, you're gonna need to say that one more time for me.
Are you, are is the committee good with that question? Is that meeting what you're asking for?
Well, it kind of blends with 4, so we can either make it one big long question or try and split them, Because the first part of 4 is tell us about a time when you led a controversial complex project with multiple stakeholders and diverse priorities. And so then we're going to ask, how do you manage competing priorities, right? Which is the same. So tell us about a time when you led controversial complex with multiple stakeholders and diverse priorities. Well, read the rest of it, Jenny.
How do you manage competing priorities, multiple personalities, and short timelines while ensuring you are meeting your deliverables on time?
So
You're right, Helen, it's similar. It's
Yeah,
very similar.
the multiple personalities kind of hits me the wrong way.
Multiple personalities.
It sounds like a mental health problem, but so I think we just shorted it to the second, while ensuring how do you ensure that you meet deliverables on timeline? What's just that last phrase, Jenny? What was it?
That's what it was. How do you ensure you are meeting your deliverables on time?
Yeah, let's just ask that. How do you ensure you're meeting your deliver? How do you ensure
You are meeting.
you are meeting deliverables on time? Does that get at it, Bruce?
Yeah, I might, I think, it might help. Let me just throw a suggestion out. If we took complex out of number 4, let 4 be about controversy and multiple priorities, and put, how do you ensure in managing a complex project that you get the work done and assure that deliverables are on time?
Good. Okay.
How's that?
That's great. Yeah.
Because I think it's sort of it's 2 separate issues.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay. That works.
I think with those 5 and what questions do you have for us, it'll feel like a natural conversation potentially. I mean, depends on how long the answers are, but that's a lot for half an hour, especially when it's tell us about a time. It's just like,
Mhm. Before I delete 7 through 11, any of those that you want to look at?
The only other one I would say is I did like the communication style one.
Number 9.
Yeah. No, yeah, number 9. You, I don't know. I just throw that out there. What's your communication style? Have you ever um, received feedback, and what is that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if that could be added into 2.
Ah,
Tell us about your leadership
Yeah,
Oh, I
and
like that.
communication style, or we could just add it on as a second part question.
I'm good with just sticking it in there as well. I mean, just to say, tell us about your leadership and communication style.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
am.
don't think we have to get into the feedback piece
Yeah,
of it.
I think just there, right? Have you ever received feedback on your communication style is the second part to that question.
Well, I was thinking just let them talk about their, rather than feedback, to say, tell us about your leadership and communication style.
And then remove this. I like
Yeah.
that.
The only other thing that I saw there that might be good to throw in is something about managing a budget. I wonder if it goes in question 1, just kind of alluding to, tell us about, yeah, scroll down a little bit more.
Sorry, you said question 1.
Yeah. Include in your answer the strengths or skills you bring to,
Or question 5.
yes, yeah, something in 5 about budget, I think would be,
Ensure you're meeting deliverables. Ensure you're meeting the budget.
managing
And
a budget, ensure you are managing a
Min-
budget and
yep.
meeting deliverables on time.
Like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's great. All right. Okay. And so these would be the final questions for round 2 interview. Just want you to have the opportunity to look at them one more time and ensure that this is what we want.
Yeah.
Great.
Like it.
All right. My other question to this is, do you, because these are obviously handled in public session, I was anticipating sending them to the candidates again, just like we did last time. So
Yeah.
great. All right. That was it for the interview questions. And really all we needed to take care of. So I will look at the final, I'll work with Katie on the final schedule. We did reach out to the candidates and scheduled their interviews, but I'm going to work with them, communicate with them on changing the times and doing a slight adjustment there. So.
And I have heard from, I'm just waiting on hearing back from 2 board members, but it does sound like 8 to 10:30 is going to work.
Is
Great.
it?
I'm just still waiting to hear from Chunwei, but even if he just missed the last portion and he could join for, the majority of it and still be a part of the vote. So plan on 8 to 10:30, but we will get that finalized today.
Okay, thank you so much, Katie. That's
Yeah, good idea. I'm embarrassed I didn't even think to do it at 8. So that's great. Thank you, Ellen. So yes, more info to come on that. Courtney will handle sending the interview questions. I think we're squared away.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining. Appreciate it. We can
Yes.
conclude the meeting. Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.